Everyone, welcome to my channel. So my name is Paulo, and today we're going to be talking about professional transformation. So specifically speaking, our journey to the Netherlands, okay? Moving away from Portugal and going into the Netherlands. So together with me, I also have Dora.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Dora, Paulo's partner in crime.
Exactly. And today we're going to be talking essentially around, let's say, five main topics, okay? So one is the arrival to the Netherlands, okay?
Exactly. Yeah. How
And
did we got there? How did you get the opportunity? Paperwork.
yeah, exactly.
Basically.
Then the way of working,
Just different ways between Portugal. We are going to compare more Portugal with Holland, although we have more experiences in other countries, but we will just stay in that comparison.
Yeah, then we're going to be talking about leaving as well. How is it that is
Exactly.
living?
Social life.
Yeah, and also talking about the cost of living versus the income. Okay, because I think it's important for you guys that are sitting on the other end to actually understand what is this about. And then I think at the end we're gonna wrap up with an overall experience. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's it. Okay. So shall we kick off? You wanna?
Yeah.
Before we do that, so very very important, guys. Okay. Feel free to give a thumbs up. Okay, if you really like this kind of videos, it's important for us, but it's also important for everyone else that is actually watching the channel, but is actually looking to share and spread the word. Okay, so please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and join me on this journey. Exactly. So it's important to do that. So the reason why I'm saying this is because I have built this channel to help out as much as we can during this COVID crisis. And we are talking about knowledge sharing, and specifically today, then the second episode of this series. If you did lost and you did miss the first one, just check it on the comments below. I'm gonna drop it there. Okay, let's go.
Okay, so maybe I will start because I was the one that gave the first step. I got the help of my sister. My sister was already in the Netherlands, and I went to help her with the move and to find a job there. So I just had my CV and I went to some offices, asked if they were interested or not. And there was one interview that late in May, because this was in March. In May, I had the confirmation of going to work there. Important for them, I think. Well, I got my opportunity because I was already had some experience in sustainability. Because the reality at the moment, so 2011 was really not as good as it is today for architects. So there was a lot of offices letting go of people due to the crisis. Holland was pretty in a bad shape for the construction area. But the fact that I had some experience in sustainability got me the job. Then afterwards we placed the date to go, so the 1st of June. And after that we took care of all the paperwork. I will let Paulo talk a bit of his experiences on having his opportunity, and then we go for the paperwork.
Yeah. So in my case was slightly different from Doris. So as we spoke about it during the first video, we took some decisions on which countries we should go. And on this case, we choose to go to the Netherlands, okay? For the reasons that we explained on the previous video, that has to do with happiness, the level of opportunities that you'd have there, the openness of people, etc. And also family, okay? So with that in mind, my case was slightly different from Dora in the sense that I went there on vacations for roughly a month, okay, and I started to essentially to send out CVs, just responding to jobs that I was keen to go. So as said, I was coming from let's say general marketing, and as part of the transformation, the decision was I will not be able to be as good, let's say, as a Dutch, okay, or as a local, let's put it like that. So the idea was to look into my overall area, okay, marketing, and choose a specific sub area that would have demand across across countries that would not be dependent on that. So with that in mind, then I pick up specifically CRM and also took a look into what is it that had more demand, on this case Salesforce, and this is how I actually started with Salesforce. Okay, and then the normal process of interview was just, yes, as a normal process, I would say, in any different country. The only thing that I would say that is slightly different, for instance, from Portugal, is that in the Netherlands, headhunting rules, okay, and in Portugal not as much. Okay.
Yeah, and something that I think it's also important is that during the interview, normally in the Netherlands, they trust you. So and that is also true at work, in the workplace. So they will ask you, what are you able to do? And you are not supposed to be humble. You are supposed to be direct and say, I can do this or I cannot do that. They will trust you and they will expect that you deliver on that.
Yeah, I think that's what Doris underlining actually makes a lot of sense. Is quite true. Also on my experience, because it's expected for you to be good at what you do. Okay, if you say that you are good at, I don't know, Excel, or if you are good at Salesforce, or if you are good in general marketing, whatever that will be the case, they trust you. Okay,
Yeah.
and they give you time for you to work, heavily focus on KPIs, on indicators to reach and to measure performance. But yeah.
Yeah, being humble in the Netherlands is perceived as you are not able to deliver, or you are not trusting your own abilities, and that's not positive. So you should overcome that because it's a trait of Portuguese culture to be humble, and that can be a challenge when facing the workforce in the Netherlands. Then, after having a confirmation of a job, you need to take care of your paperwork in, well, any European country. So, as an European, you can go to other European countries and you can stay for max 4 months if you don't have a job. Well, as we already explained, we had a job, so now we needed to take care of residency, bank account. You need to have it. So we took advantage of the experience of my sister that was recruited from outside the Netherlands. She was recruited being in Portugal, and in that sense, the company helped her a lot with all those processes, and we took advantage of that because it's not made to help you. So if you are going on your own, it's made to not being very helpful for you to take care of it. As you know, at the moment, European countries are a bit protective of their own economy, and so in that sense, you can feel it in the processes during your stay, during your move. So after this, where should we go?
Yeah, so
No.
I would like just to underline still on the working part, okay, because I think it's important what Doris said, is that actually there is a kind of a catch situation between this, okay? So it's expected for you as an European to be able to go to any European countries and be able to stay there, okay? That is actually not correct, okay? You have 4 months, okay, that you can leave and stay. In this case, we could leave and stay in the Netherlands, but after that, it's expected that you can actually have a job. If not, then you need to go back, okay? So what are the 3 main things that you need really to consider? Okay, so one is to get the bank account, the other one is to get an address, and the third is to get a job. Okay, the problem with this cycle, or with this circle, is that there's a bit of a vicious circle. I will explain. So you cannot get a job if you don't have an address. Okay, and if you don't have an address, you cannot have a bank account. But also, if you don't have a bank account, you cannot get a job, or you cannot get your money transfer. Okay, so it's a bit of a vicious cycle. So my advice to you is go first for the bank account. Okay, the bank for this is ABN AMRO. Okay, it's a very open-minded kind of bank, easy to take care of your things. You go there and you take care of the first step, that is to get your bank account. After that, things will move ahead. Okay, that will be my advice in terms of fixing your bureaucracy. I would say at first.
So in terms of work, I already talked about the trust. That is something that you feel in your day-to-day job there. They always, I'm going to give you an example. They will give you a task and ask how long do you need, and you can say, you know, a normal time that you think it's suited. If you say, I don't know, 5 days, they will not pressure you to make it in 3 days. They will accept your date, and they will expect you to deliver on time and well done. No reviews. So the reviews should be already included in your max time of work.
On your prediction.
Exactly. Yeah. So there is no extent, but they will not pressure you. They will just trust your abilities to preview it. Something else about the work. I don't know. There's something you need to...
Yeah, so I was thinking also that is it's also important in terms of work is to think on working hours, okay? And the way of working there that Dora also started to explain. So working hours, like coming from Portugal, it's normal that it's expected that you would work until, I don't know, 7 o'clock, 6:30, 7, 8, sometimes more, okay? Going into the Netherlands with regards to this, it's a complete bliss, okay? It's a blessing in the sense that it's expected for you to actually to leave at 5, and more than that, it's actually not well seen if you actually go beyond that, go beyond 5. And why? Because it's perceived that if you do not finish on time, you are not being efficient. Okay, so efficiency for them is very high. Having an agenda completely rocks in the Netherlands, so you need to have everything set in 1 month, and this is valid for life as well, with 1 month, 2 months in advance for everything. And also what I would say, it's like rules. Okay, those are the 3 main things that I would say that's really part of their way of working and way of living up to a certain point. So it's rules, it's efficiency, and agenda, everything planned ahead.
Yeah, so in that sense, they will expect for you to draw the process before doing, because they don't like fixing afterwards. So it's supposed for you to draw the whole process and then do the job.
So yeah, the next slot that I think it's important for us to talk about as well is around the living part. I think that
I'm just going to make a bridge here.
Yeah.
So I was going to say that at work there is no social life, so people don't talk during work hours. You may have a social life afterwards, but with an agenda. That's what's always going to talk about also now, the social life.
Yeah, I think with the living part in the Netherlands, and actually arriving to the Netherlands, the working part, it's actually the working is easier than the living part. Okay, in the sense that you have rules for everything, so everything is really clear, let's say. With the social part, it's like, I would say that if you are a foreigner or an expat, it's most likely that you're going to find yourself actually connecting much more to them. The Netherlands is like a magnet for expats and foreigners, okay, from all backgrounds. So you're going to be heavily connected via whatever social media you're going to have at that moment in time that is trendy, okay? But yeah, there are loads of connections, let's say, related to that, and let's say colleagues and also friends are the backbone of your social life in connection to social media and whatever. Okay, that is my experience.
Yeah, exactly. And so every time you want to have a coffee, you need to schedule it with a month ahead.
Yeah, it's yeah.
It's a bit strange for us because there is no, oh, do you want to have a coffee now? That's really...
Yeah, it does not happen.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah. This is actually not a joke. It's the reality. It's like, because they are so used to actually have everything planned ahead, that if you're looking to actually just to plan a coffee, okay, it's not, I'm not saying that everyone gonna say to you, no, I cannot, but most likely they will say no, but they will be happy to have a coffee with you within a month from now. Okay, which is not really the same in Portugal, where normally maximum I would say you need to have like with a week in advance. Like for whatever reason you cannot, but if you can, most people would say yes, let's have a coffee. If not, people say okay, within a week or something like that, because they already have things that are planned.
Yeah. So I think I will talk about a bit the cost of living there. So first of all, salaries. For someone that has a degree, it's normal to have a salary that is up to 2,000 euros or more. There are also the visual arts that can have less. And of course you have like dentistry that it's much above that, the 2000. But well, it goes around it, 2000 and something, 3000. Cost of living, you have three main costs. Housing, it's quite expensive. Amsterdam, really expensive. If you are out of Amsterdam, you can, well, it depends on the city.
Yeah, but I would say, just to add what Doris is saying, within the Randstad, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, and the Randstad is essentially this kind of triangle that you have that connects on top Amsterdam, then Rotterdam, then Hague, sorry, and then Rotterdam, and then in the middle you have Utrecht. Okay,
exactly.
So it's that area. It's the most densely densified area in I think it's also actually European for sure. I'm not sure about globally, but it's really heavy there with loads of people. And that specific part, it's more expensive in terms of housing.
Then you have transport. And for example, Paulo was paying to go from the Rotterdam, where we were living for the first 3 months, to Amsterdam. It's 100 kilometers more or less.
Yeah, give or take,
450 euros.
420 euros a month.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But companies in general, it's not 100%, but still a lot of companies do that. Pay for the transport, so they will pay whatever your expenses to arrive to work. Normally speaking,
company will pay.
And then you have schooling also.
Yeah.
So you have a public school after 4 years old.
Yeah,
from 4 to 18. Before that, the kindergarten is quite expensive. We were paying more or less 900 euros for 3 days a week. And it could go up to 1,500 if we had our daughter there for 5 days a week.
Yeah, and that's also important to say. Opening just a bit of brackets. It's you're gonna have subsidies from the state if you actually work, but also take into consideration that the reason why, in this case, our daughter was there for 3 days is because there is a lot of flexibility work-wise in the Netherlands, meaning you can actually work 4 days a week, okay, and have the 5th day for you. So this is valid for both, actually, for the both parts, okay, for the mother and the father. So it allows for some kids actually to just be 3 days on the kindergarten and spend the 4th day and the 5th day with the parents.
Exactly. Okay. And in that sense, because the government supports this, they will only support 3 days in the kindergarten. So not the 5 days. They will support you for the 3 days because they promote that the parents stay with the child 1 day a week. Let's say 1 day for the mom, 1 day for the dad.
Yeah.
Also. So in that sense, the ratio is okay. So you have quite big expenses. The salaries are good. So, for example, basic expenses like food is very cheap. It's cheaper than in Portugal.
Yeah.
And if
but
you don't,
it's much expensive going into the restaurant, for instance.
So everything that is considered how do you say
a luxury,
between brackets, is very expensive. So it depends on your lifestyle. But you can have a good quality of life in that term.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's more or less this. I have to say that you can bike everywhere in Holland. That's not a surprise to anyone.
Yes,
and it's
exactly.
really good.
Yeah, the overall experience of living in the Netherlands was really quite positive because it opened our minds to things such as work and life balance, really appreciated in the Netherlands and appreciated by us as well. Really focus on delivery and KPIs and everything around that. Focus on performance, but really relaxed kind of society, I would say. Really focus on rules, efficiency, and etc. While I feel that if you look to Portugal, there are some differences, cultural differences. It's not nothing to do with good or bad. But for instance, I'm going to give you one example. So it's like the Netherlands. It's really focus on meaning focus on efficiency. Okay, while for instance in Portugal you are much more focusing on dedication. For instance, you focus. You are normally a Dutch, normally speaking, is a direct kind of person, while for instance a Portuguese is a very friendly kind of person. I don't know if you want to add anything else, but yeah, there are some
Yeah,
cultural differences
exactly. I
that
think
are quite
overall
interesting.
Portugal is much more emotional and the Netherlands much more rational. So you can have a really relaxed kind of life in the Netherlands. But sometimes for a Portuguese, if you are coming from Portugal, it misses the surprises, the emotion, the encounter, because everything is previewed. And in that sense, you can miss Portugal.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's it, guys. If you want to have a conversation around the topic, feel free to reach out to us. Okay, feel free to give it a thumbs up if you like this kind of videos. Share and spread the word so that we can help as much as possible. And yeah, subscribe and join me on this journey. Join us on this journey. Okay,
Bye bye.
take care. Bye. Cheers.